all are like a risk factors. There is not much evidence when compared to the smoking and might increase the risk of ASD in their offspring. Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Kirti, clinical psychologist and HOD of Psychology Department at Daffodils CTC, Hyderabad. See, today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, and as you know, like many parents ask us about the science behind autism spectrum disorder. So in one of our video, we've already covered what is the genetic risk factors causing the autism spectrum disorder. So today we will be dwelling into the environmental risk factors in autism spectrum disorder. So what are these environmental risk factors? So there are many. So when to name, there is like environmental exposure of the parent, especially the mother, and also the environment toxins, and also the medications which are being used in their pregnancy, and also the nutritional values and the food intake which they were doing in the pregnancy. See, again, please note that there is no one particular causative factor for autism spectrum disorder. As I said before and now, it is always that these all are like a risk factors for this ASD. So when we talk about the environmental risk factors, I will be dividing it into simpler things. First, I will be talking about the environmental exposures. So in that, the first and the foremost comes is the maternal smoking. The smoking has a very potential risk and the evident chances of the child getting the autism spectrum disorder. There are a lot of research articles which have suggested that there is a risk link factor for a smoking during pregnancy by the maternal is also a causative for a ASD, that is autism spectrum disorder. And the next factor would be is alcohol consumption during pregnancy. There are a lot of researchers saying there might be a link for this autism spectrum disorder when a mother does an alcohol consumption during pregnancy. But still, there is not much evidence when compared to the smoking. And the second and the foremost, which I say, is the medications, the usage of the medications. See, when coming to this, there is a very huge research going on that, and today I want to quote on one single article which has shown a very evident data on how the medications affect the child's birth, that is like how the autism spectrum disorder is being evolved. So the article name I want to say is Maternal Lifestyle and Environmental Risk Factors for Autism Spectrum Disorder by Lyle and et al. In 2014. See, one of the medications would be the anti-epileptic drugs. That is for the maternal to manage the epilepsy. They use this anti-epileptic drugs, and the research has shown that there is a potential association for the autism risk. And the next one is antidepressants. The antidepressant drugs such as the SSRI, the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. This is one of the medications where the maternal has used during the pregnancy will also cause a potential risk for the autism spectrum disorder. And the next one is the antipsychotic medications. Medications such as risperidone and Zyprexa, such kind antipsychotic drugs may also cause a potential risk for that, and many researchers have supported this antipsychotic medications being used during pregnancy by the mother. And the next one is anti-inflammatory medications. So there are different corticosteroids and different non-steroidal drugs which have been used during their pregnancy may also cause a potential risk factor for this autism. And the last one is anti-infective agents. Many studies have investigated that maternal use of antibiotics or antiviral medications during their pregnancy also had an association with this autism risk in the children. So these are the different medications where the mother during the pregnancy might have used and could be a potential associated risk for autism in the children. And the next major thing is environmental toxins. Unknowingly, during the pregnancy, if the mother is being exposed to high level of air pollution and heavy metals, the heavy metals could be the lead, arsenic, anything. If the mother is being exposed, what happens is during that a kind of a reactive oxygen species will be generated, which is again linked to the epigenetics, which is not exactly a genetics, but a DNA sequence will be formed, and with that there would be oxidative stress during pregnancy for the mother, and it might cause a DNA damage or a protein damage to the child's brain development or the fetus development, and it might also be a associative and a potential risk for the autism spectrum disorder. And the last and also very important risk factor for autism spectrum disorder is the maternal health and nutrition. Maternal obesity could be also a very huge risk factor for a autism spectrum disorder. During pregnancy, if there is a maternal obesity, there is a linkage of the risk. A lot of researchers have been done on this, and there are evident advanced proofs on this, like there is a risk for autism spectrum disorder. And next would be the folic acid supplementation. As most of you know that folic acid is a must given during the pregnancy, especially in the early development of the fetus, because folic acid supplementation or folate which is used is actually helping to avoid the neural tube any defects to be developed in the child's brain. So during this process, if there is any of not taking a proper folic acid, or if there is any unnecessary like stoppage of that, might also cause effect of this neurodevelopment, as again it is a potential risk for autism spectrum disorder, as ASD is itself a neurodevelopment disorder. So folic acid and its impacts on the ASD is also a huge research going on, and a lot of studies have been conducted in this. And the next very important is the diabetes and gestational diabetes. Diabetes of the parental and as well as the gestational diabetes is nothing but the diabetes which occurred during the pregnancy. So there are a lot of findings which say that there is an association with higher risk of ASD in the offsprings if there is a maternal diabetics and maternal gestational diabetics. These three are a very huge reasons or a risk factors when taking into the consideration of the maternal health and the nutrition value which they take in during their pregnancy. So till now we have seen different factors, different environmental exposures, toxic materials, and the maternal health and the nutrition, which could be a potential risk, how it might be associated for the autism spectrum disorder. Again, these all are just a risk factors. Until now we don't have any etiological factor for ASD, but these all are risk factors which could create an association and might increase the risk of ASD in their offspring. So hope you little bit got how the environmental risk factors also play a role in the causative factors for the ASD. So in the upcoming videos, we would be going to see what is actually this autism spectrum disorder is and what are the signs and symptoms which you have to notice in order to understand this autism. Hope you could understand the topic today, and if any doubts, please feel free to reach us out at Daffodils CDC Hyderabad. Thank you.